I wish I did have a moderator. I'm going to have to get some. I keep going live like this more often. Good evening, everybody. I need to start doing notifications. I've just been having these impulsive, last minute, what's the other word I'm looking for? Not impulsive, but impulsive in a sense, but spontaneous live streams. But even though I did have this on my list to talk about the last couple of weeks, I've been focused with people and clients on being attuned and within alignment with who they are, which helped them to figure out what their purpose and passion is. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Cheryl. I am a certified life purpose coach. I am a certified mental health professional, which is called a QMHP, Qualified Mental Health Professional. I have a certification in that. I have some other certifications and other types of coaching, including wellness, emotional wellness, and that's the gist of it, okay? Because I got other things I do, licensed cosmetologist and everything. But everything, that's what I want to talk about today. And this is live my life and learn to live my life to be intentional. Starting years ago, and I realized when I look back, that's what showed me that I was a leader and that I was entrepreneurial at heart, because I just noticed myself, even as a child or teenager, always feeling comfortable in doing things that I feel like I am equipped or I'm passionate to do. You know, something that I love, something I feel led to do. And then when I got into, you know, the things of God and my spiritual walk with Christ, nothing but alignment, like ministry. Just looking to see what God has called, what he's gifted me with, what he's empowered me with. And I started seeing how he would use me in a certain area consistently and realize, okay, this is me. This is, God put this in me. I didn't make myself do it. It just happened naturally. And so sometimes we have to look at the spiritual to understand us in the natural. Because whatever God is doing with you in the spiritual, there's a demonstration of it and there's a manifestation of it in the natural. Stay with me, I'm going somewhere, okay? And I was able to see that within my own life. And one of the things I like to do as a life purpose coach, help people to identify who they are, what their strengths are, what their passions are, and help them to correlate and find alignment with it. Because the people I've worked with for years, okay, I said this before, the people that seem the unhappiest are the ones who's living their life without being aligned with who they are, with their purpose. I don't know if any of you can identify this, feeling like you're not really being yourself. You're not really being authentic. It's like you're living somebody else's life for them, either because something's been ascribed to us, a certain particular direction or area or job or career, ministry as well. It's not really in alignment with who you are, but you did it because someone else put that title and ascribed a particular role for you. And so for years, you may have, and this is going to be a revelation for somebody, I guarantee, for years, the reason why you're feeling a sense of contention, unhappiness, the misfit syndrome is what I call it. You don't feel quite like yourself. It's because you're not in alignment with who God called you to be. You're not. And sometimes we don't know this. We come into the revelation of it. Either God sends someone to speak to you, and I hope this is what I'm doing for somebody, to get that aha moment, like, okay, wait a minute, she's saying something. Let me think about this a little bit more. Let me explore, like I do with my clients. Let's explore. Let's discover, right? And I take them on a number of assignments to help them with that whole process in my academy, Get Your Life Back Academy. I'll talk about that later. But there's a particular workbook that I have to go along with my Passion Purpose Finder coaching program, and it literally takes people through a process of learning how to identify with who they are and what their strengths are and who they are at the core even underneath all the trauma, because a lot of times that was the other thing, was the barriers. Again, if you go to my website, it'll say get your life back with Cheryl, but it'll say helping you break through barriers and propel into your purpose, because sometimes that trauma has placed barriers where you are not able to see clearly who you are, which is natural, because you never really tapped in or really stayed in a space long enough to do the discovery work. And so that's the wonderful thing about coaching, the wonderful thing about therapy, counseling, whatever, is to help you discover that thing. And a lot of times God will show other people. And as you start to say heal or grow, you start to see more clearly, like, okay, I've been doing this wrong. Nothing against you or us or me, because it's part of life discovery. If we live long enough and we're seeking, then we can find out. It's like, oh my God. So with that said, I also help people live with intention. Now that you know this, once you have discovered who you are, the things that matter to you, the type of things that give you passion and give you a sense of joy and a sense of fulfillment. This is not for everybody. Some people love doing whatever else they want to do. Just like some entrepreneurs. Not every entrepreneur is led by their passions and profit. Sometimes it's just only for profit and to make money, and that's okay. Some people in the business just to make money. It doesn't care what they do long as they make money. But there's some people like me who are led by their passion and their purpose, because they know with that there comes a sense of fulfillment and joy. Some people may get the fulfillment and joy by just making the money and having several business. I'm not condemning. That's okay. But this here is for people who are like me, like-minded. That's why I'm a life purpose coach. For us, at the end of the day, we understand for us, if we're not walking in alignment with our purpose and passion, there will always be a void. Like something is missing. Like I'm not really living me. When you come to that understanding and conclusion, then this is when you move into intention. And this really would apply to a lot of people who are middle age and up, like 40 and over, 40, 50, 60, even 70 and over. Because we live life long enough and say, you know what, I've been doing this a certain way. I want to live the rest of my life, being intentional about what I do, because I want to serve me. So whatever I do, I want to serve others, but I want to serve myself as well. And you start thinking differently. Growth, wisdom, maturity. And then sometime in life, it's just time for a pivot. It's just time to shift and to change. Because there's certain seasons we live in where we serve a particular purpose for that season. But now we shift into another season. But I'm really talking to those of you right now who want to shift into your season. Like, I need to live with intention. That means the people I'm around with, I need to be intentional about who's in my space, because they need to be for me. And if they're not, if they come with mess, I don't have time for it. Been there, done that, right? In our years, in our youth, figuring stuff out, figuring out who we are, going through the identity space, right? I don't want to say crisis, because that's usually when someone have a hard time for whatever different reasons. Now, even traumatic experiences where they got stuck. It's a stuck point in their life where they never found out who they are. They never developed that part of themselves. They stayed stuck, whether it's a mental block or a physical thing, some kind of imprisonment. That can look different for a lot of people. It can be jail. It can be trafficked, right? I work with a lot of women who've been sex trafficked. Where are you discovering yourself at? It's like somebody else is controlling your life like a puppet. And so that's why a lot of times when people come out of a life like that, they have to start life all over again. They have to learn to trust themselves, think for themselves. Because if somebody else is telling you how to think, then you usually will have trust issues with yourself, or you don't trust your own judgment. So now you have to learn that. That's why you got to go to the core. That's why you're going to have to dig deep. Or you've been in a situation, you know what? Another situation is like maybe being a wife and a mom for so many years and you forgot about yourself. You've been a mom. You've been all things to all people. You've been a mother. You've been a wife. But you haven't been anything to yourself. You haven't invested in yourself mentally, spiritually, emotionally. So now, either when, say, if you divorced or The kids are out the house if you have children, or you guys forgot about each other. If you're still in a marriage and you got so caught up in the everyday of working and taking care of the house and all these things, but you forgot about yourself as a human being. You forgot about your emotional and spiritual needs. Now you have to rediscover yourself. And a lot of times when this happens, you'll see sometimes where relationships break apart because you're trying to discover, because you lost a sense of self and you don't even know who you are. So a lot of times that'll just get in our heads and we ready to just cut everybody off and start over again. When a lot of times that's not the answer. Sometimes it is, because there's different things that happen in relationships, right? But a lot of times it's only because we have gone through this crisis situation. Some people call it midlife. There's different things, and you're trying to who the heck am I? Understand we live in different stages and transitions. So who am I now? That might be your question. Who am I now? Who am I today? Been there, done that. Need something new. That's a whole nother discussion. You're ready. I just told somebody the other day, I'm ready to play now. I did a lot of the heavy work, especially being a mental health professional. Did a lot of heavy work with other people, did work within myself. And sometimes I just want to turn my thinking cap off. And I just want to play. I want to do some extra things that do not require a lot of mental work, mental acrobats. Because there's a lot of things that I do in life where I have to go deep, even in ministry or pastoral counseling or mental health counseling, and even some types of coaching, trauma-focused coaching. And I love that too. But I need to have, this is self-care as well. I need to do other things alongside of those things. And I need to take mental breaks, of course. And then sometimes it's just time to shift. I just want to shift and do a lot of things that make me laugh even more now and have fun. I want to play. Some of you need to ask yourself that question or tell yourself, it's time for you to play. As my former pastor would put it, it's time for you to live. Are you ready to live? Catch the wisdom in that. When I say live, I'm talking about thriving, being your authentic self. I'm talking about living with intention. I'm talking about pursuing your passions, living out your purpose, operating into your purpose, in your purpose. So the mindset has to change. Again, I talked about stuck points earlier. Sometimes we in these stuck points, again, not only because somebody ascribed a particular role for you to play in life. You may have ascribed that role because you didn't know your capabilities. You don't know what God has even gifted you with. You don't know your passions or your talent or your skill. Some of you need to take a moment and to write down. You need to go and reflect, even if you have to start with your resume. Let me see the things I've been doing in my life. Let me see if I can find some consistencies. Let me see if I can identify a pattern, because it may lead you to understand who you are. I seem to be gravitated towards this particular thing or this particular action. Or I hear people always pulling certain things that they highlight certain things that they know or see me doing. Because again, I tell you, other people also can lead you to this revelation, right? And if you find a pattern and people are saying the same thing, no matter where, and that's one of the assignments I have in my Purpose Passion Finder workshop. It is one of the assignments is I have everybody ask people around them what permeates out of my spirit and see if you can get a consensus from different people. And if you can find a pattern or people are saying the same thing, you need to pay attention to that thing. Okay, wait a minute, let me pay attention, because I let that go over my head. And that has been a problem. Again, if you're not being intentional about identifying who you are and what your passions are, stuff will go over your head. Sometimes it does take us living life a little bit longer to have that moment and go, okay, wait a minute, because now you feel it's time for a change. You feel it's time to pivot. Causes you to identify some things and sit for a moment, meditate and reflect. So some of you have to do that. That assignment is for you to do. Do these type of things. Write it down. Have a book, journal, or something just to write these things down, right? Because you're trying to figure out, you're on a journey to be in alignment with who you are. Some of you, again, are discovering who you are. I have a passion to help people do that, right? Because in my own life, I've come to understand who I am as a person at the core. Things that don't serve me well, I can identify the type of people that I could not have in my circle, the type of jobs I could not work at because it do not align with what I will be miserable, unhappy, and because I know that already, I wouldn't even go into that direction. That's the wonderful thing about understanding who you are. You can save a lot of headache, stress, anxiety, and unnecessary trauma. So it's like you're getting control of your life. Like God has given us the power to do those things, but we've gotten away from that. So we're not leaving God out of that. Understand, God has given us the ability. He gave us a volitional will to go ahead, and even with getting wealth, even the Bible says he's given us the power to get wealth. There's a capability that we have as human beings to create something, to work at something that will produce something, whether it's the finances, whatever it is, it's going to yield something in return. It's like a law, seed time and harvest. So when we understand that, you tend to look at life differently. You tend to move in the world differently because you got that understanding and revelation like, okay, hold on. Okay, wait a minute, Lord. Because see, maybe nobody told me this. And don't get angry because we all here to learn. That's why we don't hold things against people. Not even against your parents. We are born and shaped in iniquity. We are born and shaped in a world full of dysfunction. So there is none perfect, no, not one. We're all trying to figure this thing out. Some of us are born in traumatic situations. It is crazy, right? It's horrible. Can you imagine all the stories I have heard over the years working in mental health? Wonder why we messed up. Wonder why we need a savior. Wonder why we need therapy. We need coaching. So when you know that, it should also take away any shame and guilt that you carry, which can also be a barrier, blocking you from moving forward because you're carrying something because of what somebody else did to you, or you did to yourself because you didn't know any better. That's the wonderful thing about being a child of God, because when you understand that and you come to him and you give it to him, you are really that new. That's what it means to be a new creation. But when you grasp that thing for real, wait, I'm a new creation. When the Bible says old things passed away, that's shame, that's guilt, all of that, unforgiveness of others and self, you understand that I can let that go now. Because God is not holding it over my head, so neither should I. So when you do that, you loose and divorce yourself from those barriers, from that poor negative thinking, from those self-defeating thoughts. But you do learn, right? You grow and you learn how to just shade those things off, to break every fetter, anything that's like a stronghold that is holding you back from living intentional, holding you back from living in your purpose and living on purpose. Like that's when you make a decision that says, I'm going to live. I'm going to live the rest of my life doing the things that align with my purpose, align with God's purpose for me spiritually, but also the natural things that aligns with my values. That's what you have to say. That aligns with your values and your morals. That's when you find true fulfillment. And those things are easier for you to do because you attune with it. It's like a gifting, right? Excuse me. A gift is something that's given to you. I believe we all have a gift and a purpose. We got to figure out what that is. But then you got the spiritual gift. But when you have a gift, like a gift of singing or playing an instrument, it was just given to you. You didn't have to even train. Now you can train to develop it. But a person that is gifted is second nature. You don't put so much thought into it. Well, others will have to do that, right? But it's like for you, it was given to you. Like some people just have a good ear for music. Like my daughter, just from a child, she's awesome with the harmonizing and everything. She did vocal lessons way later on. Like high school. Well, no, she went through some schooling and things like that. But from a baby, she had a talent, right? Now, she did develop some of that from both of her parents. However, she had that gift of hearing. Because everybody can't. Some people are tone deaf. It doesn't matter what key you give them. They hear something completely different. You're like, that's not your gift. Don't quit your day job. No, but some people are giving a gift. Even the way you may think about things can be a gift. A certain knowledge, right? Now I may tap into the spiritual now. There's certain revelations that come to you when you start thinking in your processes. Some of you are very gifted with a word of knowledge that when you start speaking, you start hearing things. I got friends like that in my circle because we kind of have that in common. So that's not more like into the spiritual gifting. It's like while you're speaking revelation, prophetic things come to you and you're like, oh my God, wait a minute. Oh my God, stuff just start dropping. You're not doing within your own self. That's stuff that God gives you, right? So there are some people that are gifted. We're all gifted in different areas. Then it's talent. You can develop. You can learn a talent and you can develop it. Even a gift is developed, right? You're around people who operate in the same gifting, and being around those type of people, you can learn to develop your gift. Same thing with a skill set. You can develop that skill set. Everything could be developed. Everything could be perfected. And so I would say, again, back to my 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. Still got your right mind. You're still able to do something. You're still active in some level. Now you at a stage where you're perfecting those things. See, we go through life. We know that life is all about learning lessons. There's stages, there's transitions, there's levels, there's evolving. And so you're matriculating in life and you're perfecting those things which concerneth you. So when you know that also puts you on a guide to be intentional about how you live in the rest of your life. You are calling the shots with the help of your Heavenly Father. From now on, wait a minute. Like I said, if you came out some kind of entrapment or whatever lifestyle you came out of, or situation or entanglement or whatever, and the Son set you, God set you free. Because I was thinking of the scripture, who the Son sets free is freed indeed. Can't help it. That's my ministry mind. But now you're like, okay, I got a new lease in life. I want to do things differently. And you're learning to do that. One of the things you have to do is surround yourself about other people, and people who are confident and people who see who you are. That's key to your development, to walk in your purpose and passion. Surround yourself around people, first of all, who know who they are. They're confident in who they are. They understand their values. They know their morals, their values. They know what they should be aligned with and who they should be aligned with. And two, you need to be around those people. You'll start to gain some clarity about yourself. In those people, let me tell you something. God will put people in your life to make sure you walk in alignment and make sure you get to your purpose. I am a living witness to that. When it came to school, to work, to ministry, I kept seeing a consistency of how God would place certain people in my life. I said, Lord, you're so strategic. This is not for naught. You did this on purpose. I'm here on purpose. Have you ever, oh my God, this is going to help somebody. Because when it happens to me, I'm like, it's such a self-fulfilling, great experience within yourself. It's like you're sure that you're sure that you're sure. And you know that you know that you know that you know that you know. When you feel that sense of, I am where I'm supposed to be at this moment. Like you can't even explain it, but you feel it in your gut. You feel it in your shanana. It's like, I'm supposed to be here. Or you're with a certain group and you can feel like that's alignment. Come on, somebody. That's alignment of where you're supposed to be at that moment and where you're going, because it's part of the journey. And so you're like, okay, God, I can't explain it, Lord, but I know I'm supposed to be here. I feel it in my gut. And you know what? And when those things are happening, it's like your spirit is being fed. And your mind is being fed, and your emotions and your mental, there's a deposit that's taking place at that moment. And that's when you know I'm supposed to be here, because everything I am hearing and receiving No, everything I'm hearing, I'm receiving, and it's dropping in my spirit, and I'm going to let it take root. Because when you understand that, then you become good fertile ground to receive what's happening, because you understand you are supposed to be where you are for that moment. Even if you had to redo something again, because sometimes we miss it. Whatever the block or barriers or things we get caught up in, or we go off route sometimes and we made a detour, and then God pulls you back in, and then you go, okay, now I'm going to do it this way. It's okay, right? I'm learning the lessons. Some of us, we're learning lessons in different ways. Some of us might bump our head a few times, 2 or 3 times. Some of us may just need to bump our head one time and be like, oh, I got it. Some of us don't like to get spanked. Some of us don't like to have to. And then some of us are very hard-headed. We take all. We just going to do it our way until we get to the end of our rope and realize, all right, here I am. See, we have to surrender in life. Surrender to your purpose and surrender to your passions. I'm helping somebody. I know I am. It's so simple, but sometimes we don't know that. If you take out the time and sit for a moment, whether you're praying, meditating, listening to something like this, because there's people in my whole life that dropped some seeds along the way, and I picked them up because I felt it. I'm like, that was for me. That word, that message, that podcast, that preachment, that book, that session, whatever it is, but you know, it spoke to your spirit. It did something to you where the light went on, like, got it. I'm telling you, have those experiences, it really helps, because you know you're on the right path, and nobody can make you go off unless you start entertaining things you should not be entertaining, or entertaining people you should not be entertaining, because they are distractions, or it is a distraction. That person do not align with who you are and where you're going. And when you understand again who you are and what you're called to do and what your purpose is, you can quickly more now discern, like, okay, no, you're not good for me. And it's not something you have to say verbally. You just know within your spirit, like, I'm good. God bless. It's like a different attitude you take on in life. And you don't have to be nasty about it. Why? Because you have a peace in you that's saying, okay, it's okay. And release other people. But sometimes we have to be careful, because if we don't do that, we don't know these things, we get entangled with stuff for a moment. And we're human, so you may have periods where these things may happen, but you can snap out of it quickly because you have matured. And now you see it coming quicker. Just like those of us who are older now, 40s, 50s, 60s and up, it don't even take you long. Even if you, like, say you want to get married again, or you want to find a long lasting relationship, and you know what you need to be aligned with and who you need to be aligned with. You know you really well. You know what works for you and what don't work for you. You know your own traumatic past, your story. You know your triggers. That comes with maturity, healing, and growing and developing. And when you get to that place, you can quickly know sometimes it's the first day you meet somebody, like, yeah, this not gonna work. It's okay. We're not compatible. But God bless. I pray the best for you. I know God's got great and wonderful things for you. But it's not with me. That's all. No need to be nasty. Set them people on the way so they can find the person they need to be aligned with. Because again, you're being intentional, because you want as much as possible to pursue peace, alignment, purpose. If you're with the right purpose partner, you can get further, farther, right? Because you don't have a stumbling block. That person is not going to be a stumbling block to you. Actually, because they align with you, they're going to complement who you are, and vice versa. You complement them. So you complement each other. You add to each other's life. When you're not in alignment, people can actually take away from your life, because that can cause extra unnecessary anxiety and stress and strife and dissension and division and all of those things. Schisms in the relationship, which can cause you to get off focus and get out of alignment, and now you got to do the whole thing all over again. Then it's harder because then now your barrier may be a soul tie that you don't develop because you align with the wrong person. Come on, somebody. Now you got this emotional attachment and barrier. Now that's something you got to work on because you can't even go any further until you relinquish and divorce yourself from. And I'm not talking about like divorce marriage. I'm saying from a thing, to separate, to free yourself from, that you wasn't supposed to be with in the first place. Again, that can be a lesson for somebody. Some of you been there and done that as well. Now you got it. Now you are on the path to investing in yourself, investing in your mental health, investing in your emotional intelligence. Because when you invest in your self-care and you grow emotionally, you start to mature emotionally. You start to become more mature in your thinking. You start to be more forward thinking. Because now you're thinking about what aligns with you. And you're thinking about your destiny. And you're thinking about your purpose. That's one thing I used to always tell my daughter when she was young. I don't even know if she remember how long I told her this from a toddler. When she was able to speak and hear, understand, is that I want you to be a thinker. Meaning I want you to think. I was trying to develop emotional intelligence within her. I wanted her to think about A, B, C, and D. Learn how to be forward thinking ahead of time. I said, because it's going to save you from a lot of unnecessary mistakes. We're already going to make mistakes and mess up. But there's some things we don't really have to step into if we have that forward thinking. If we're intentional about protecting our peace, protecting our heart, guarding our mental health, by not being aligned, misaligned. That's the right word, right? I think it's not misaligned with the wrong people, the wrong company, the wrong environment. Because you're thinking about what you need to keep peace in your own life as much as possible. Even the Bible says that. Look, I can't help it. No apology. That's one thing too. When you walk in who you are, your authenticity, it's like you stop apologizing to other people for who you are. Why we do that? That's a trauma response. Another topic for another day. No more apologies. Being apologetic for who you are. Now you should if you got a nasty attitude and you mistreat people. Yeah, you do. You need to check yourself. That's growth. That's healing and some stuff that need to take place. But I taught her these things because I wanted her to be very intentional about who she's with, who's in her life, understand who she is as a person. So, and again, we still learning those things, but then you get like that core you at some age. When you're in your 20s and 30s, you're like, okay, this is me at the heart. So I already know I can't be with this type of man. Or if you're a man on here, I can't be with this type of woman. But I was talking about my daughter for a moment. I can't have this group of friends in my inner court, my inner circle, because these type of people would not be good for my development. They would just add more agony to my life. I can already, being forward thinking, you can see things ahead of, oh my God, you don't understand the power that God gives us. You don't understand. I'm just thinking about all the times when God would show me stuff down the line that's going to happen. If you entangle yourself with this person, he would literally just show me the type of things that would happen and the stuff that would come out this spirit. I'm like, oh my God, you just saved me some heartache and pain. God will do that for you. That's another way you start to trust your guts. I talked earlier, right, about learning to trust yourself. The more time you spend with God and the more you surround yourself about other people who are thinkers, like-minded, and more mature than you in a lot of areas, that's good for your development. Then you start to learn to trust your own voice, to make decisions, because you're doing it because of intention and alignment with who you are. And so you don't have to do all that second guessing and questioning. That's when you unsure, got some insecurities for some valid reasons, as I mentioned, and you're learning to trust your own voice, to discern, is that me? Is that what somebody told me? Is that a negative core belief that I have? Like, why am I getting this thought? Is it from rejection? Just when you got to do that whole self-examination. Part of life, do the work. That's what it means by do the work, or what we mean by do your work. Sometimes you hear y'all say that, right? Do your work. That is it. Self-discovery. So we need to do those things. Do it for yourself. You can start the process with working with a coach, working with a therapist, a coach like me, whoever, or you got some people in your life that you can pull on and they're going to keep you accountable. You might have shied away from that because you know they know your stuff and they may pull out something. But when you get to a place when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you definitely want some new direction, some change in your life, some transition, you want to pivot, you want to develop, you want to grow. Those are the things you do. Now you're making executive decisions over your life. To make executive decisions, you are stepping into the leadership of you. Because that's what you have to do as a leader. You got to call some shots that a lot of other people can't make because they're not there yet. They're uncomfortable. And you may have been at that place. But now you have matriculated to a place in your life where you say, you know what? I'm going to step in this leadership. I'm going to be leader in my life. Under God, but you know what I mean. You're going to take some control, accountability, because you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. And you know how that feels. And it don't work. It's been dysfunctional. Relationship, work, whatever it is, it's been dysfunctional. It's not working for you, or it no longer serves you anymore. And so now you have to make a call to do something different on a whole nother level. And then you say, you know what? That means I got to be around other people who are on a whole nother level. Doesn't mean you're looking down on anybody or a group or association that you was with, because you can be a resource for them and a help. But sometimes you got to step away so you can do the work. Then you can go back and help somebody else. Because if you're still at a tender stage where you're easily influenced to be and allow them to take you off course and become a stumbling block for you, just like a person with addiction. If they can help it, to not go back into the same neighborhood. Now, a lot of times that's not possible. You go away to these rehab, beautiful places. They are in the mountains or by the water. You get all this treatment done, but then you got to come back to the neighborhood where there's nothing but drugs and alcohol in your face, in your family, everywhere. That's really difficult to fight against. You're still learning. You're still growing. Even when you come out of a rehab place, you got to go back into that environment. That's not easy. It's like there should be some kind of transitional, and it's a lot of programs that do have a transitional type of housing after that, where you don't have to go back there. You can live in a complete different place with other people who are like you and gone through the same battle, struggle, but uphill. Right? They're growing, they're learning, they're trying to stay sober as much as possible. They're in a sober living environment. We need to have more of those things. With that said, so take that same example. When you're growing, you're pivoting, you're transitioning, and you're moving away, like I said, from old associations that no longer serve you. They're not ready to grow yet. You don't look down on them. You pray for them. You wish them the best, because that was once you, right? But now you're at a different place and you're going in a new direction, or you're going back to the direction you were supposed to go in the first place. You have to associate with a new group of people that are progressing. That's all I'm saying, right? Then we can go help and pull somebody else out of the pit, out of the dungeon of their life, because now you're strong. You have the tools. Hold on a minute, people. I gotta charge my computer for a dial. You have the tools. You develop a skill set. You now use healthy coping skills to get through life, to process things. So you got all these emotional tools and mindset tools and spiritual tools. So you're empowered. You walk in a different way. Attitude, gratitude, all of those things. Then you feel better. Oh my God, because you are free. Walk in alignment. That's what I'm saying. Make a decision that you're going to live the rest of your life in alignment, so nobody won't pressure you into doing things that you don't really want to do because it's not really who you are. Okay? Or being around people that do not compliment who you are. And you don't compliment who they are. But we're talking about you right now because this is your work. Okay, I'm done, guys. I needed to come on there. Somebody needed to hear that. I just get joy and passion out of helping people or depositing something in you that can enhance your quality of life, that can help you make better decisions, that can help you move toward your purpose and your passion. That's all I talk about all the time. So I already know this is me. I'm doing the things that align with me on a spiritual level, on a natural level. Different areas of my life, different parts of me are in alignment. And then there's a sense of peace that come along with that. You're not trying to, first of all, please anybody else. So you got the people pleasing thing out the way. You are not codependent on other people or what other people think. You release yourself from those things. I just helped somebody today. This was a message of deliverance in another form. So if you are just coming on here, I wish I could see the chat. Let me tell you something. Go back and watch the replay. Because I dropped some nuggets on here. Some of you may know this already. But there's always somebody who's learning something new for the very first time. It's like some people can go to the same church and somebody go, well, I outgrew that church or whatever the case is, and they feel led to go somewhere else. But for somebody else, that same message is new for them. It's like, oh my God, I am where I'm supposed to be. This word is for me. This ministry is for me. So you can't live a life compared to other people. Everybody at different stages and places in their lives, right? Where are you? I want you to drop in the comment section something that I have said that spoke to your heart, that triggered a healthy, good response, when now it's causing you to feel activated in a positive way, not a negative way where you feel triggered and traumatized, and not that. When you're triggered in a positive way because something I need to know this because I'm here to serve people and help people. And I want to know that it's something I said helped you. And I also want you to put in the comment section if anything that I've said have triggered a thought in your mind that you would like me to elaborate and talk more about. I can go into, you help me. You're helping me to help you. Give it to me. Put it in the comments so I can think about it. Say, okay, you know what? I'm going to come back on here and talk about that. So in order for you to even see that, you need to be a subscriber to my tribe. Get Your Life Back Tribe, please. Like this video and go back and watch a lot of other stuff. Oh my God, I got these wonderful Monday inspirational Mondays and all kinds of things on the channel. I can't even think of it all right now. I share a lot on here, but I want you to like the video, like other videos, subscribe, share, and so that way you can and hit that bell, because when you hit that bell, it is a notification. So you'll get a notification when I either go live again or when I upload a new video or something, right? Because I want to speak to that dilemma or that concern or that thought that you have. I would like to come back and talk about it more. Let's talk. Can we talk for a minute? Girl, boy, I want to know your name. Okay, that's it. Let me get off this thing. I start singing, preaching, coaching, all kinds of things going on here. But thanks for tuning in. I so appreciate your presence, the gift of your presence, and for gracing my channel and this video with your presence. Be blessed. Okay, everybody? Walk in alignment. I'm telling you, it'll make your life better. Okay, bye-bye.